what you see, like a battery. I'm staying charged on my feet, I'm like a factory. Dropping lines like an assembly. I'm staying on point, my strategy. Feel like they tracking me.
How you doing, guys? Welcome to ZukaTube, and today we're going to be reviewing a movie called The Free Fall. Not to be mistaken for some movie called Free Fall, I think in like 2014 or something, but this is The Free Fall. Just came out, released January 14, 2022, and it went pretty much straight to streaming, this one. Apparently it was only limited theater release. And I think it was on the same exact day. Now, this movie is a like kind of horror thriller-esque movie, right? I'm going to go through, play this trailer, read the little summary they got, give you a general breakdown on how this movie lays out, give you my review. I'm going to play a few clips, and then we're going to go right into the little spoiler section at the end and everything like that. And if you haven't yet, like this video, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm on YouTube as ZukaTube and on Rumble. And let's get right into this trailer here.
I didn't know you could play the piano.
Well, there's a lot about me you don't know.
Oh, snap. And that's Shawn Ashmore, you know, the dude who played Iceman on X-Men.
Doctor, please. What's wrong with her?
You don't remember. I found you in the tub, Sarah.
Oh, shit.
Sarah?
Sometimes the voices in our head are there to guide us.
It's okay.
Stay with me. Everything's gonna be alright.
Hello?
Dun, 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 dun. Are you there, bro? Dang.
Everything is.
She's trapped. And Shawn Ashmore is pretty good at this. You could say his performance is a little chilling.
There was
Pun
no one
intended.
there, Sarah.
The third floor is off limits.
Third floor is off limits in her own home. That's always a red flag, right? As you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on. She needs some answers, bro. Pray she doesn't find them. Or pray she does, right? Wouldn't that be the whole thing? You'd want her to know the answer. Bah! All right, so this movie, the description they have for it isn't very much at all of a summary, right? It literally just says, a young woman must wrestle with an overbearing husband after she tries to take her own life. That is not much of a description, especially compared to what you see in the trailer and what they already lay out for you with that. Now, this movie, I'm gonna say it starts out like pretty intense, right, in the beginning. So let me just play this out. Now, the main character, Sarah, she's talking to her sister Julie about her parents renewing their vows, right? And they kind of get cut short, and she's going, but the sister's not. And she goes to the parents' house, and no one's home from what it seems, right? And she starts hearing and seeing things, and she finds her mom in a wedding dress stabbing her father to death, and then she kills herself, right? And I'd say Sarah's a bit sad at this point, right? And it shows like an intro after that where it goes to the house and everything's kind of covered up and left behind, and she's kind of laying in her tub with her wrist cut like she goes to kill herself. And then she's woken up by Shawn's character, Nick, right? And he explains that he found her in the tub after she tried to kill herself, and, you know, they're married and the whole deal. And, you know, he's trying to rehabilitate her and all that. And she's confused. She has total amnesia. She remembers absolutely nothing about her life, anybody else, what happened, the whole deal. And obviously you can tell by this trailer that she starts noticing things that are a little weird. Like, she starts seeing spooky shit in the house, visions, like, you know, you see visions of her dead parents. Nick kind of is medicating her and seems like he's manipulating her and things like that. He's got kind of an interesting way about him in this. And the dynamic is pretty obviously off right at the beginning, and she's so out of it and doesn't know anything and is kind of almost trapped in the beginning when this whole movie plays out, to where you have to see where things go, and you're like, well, what else are you gonna do? I mean, granted, you could easily go outside of your house at least and maybe talk to your neighbors, anything like that, which you would think they would show, but this movie is very focused within the home basically. And the whole aspect of you thinking the entire time of what's going on in this film, especially when you watch the trailer, you even think like, are there paranormal type stuff going on? Is it kind of like maybe visions or delusions? Are there multiple like bad characters in this? Is it just one person? You know, what's going on? And they do a good job of having you kind of flip back and forth through all those kind of feelings throughout this movie. So that's interesting, and I like the way they do it. Now I'm going to show you a scene right in the beginning where she walks in on the parents, just to kind of give you an idea of how jarring and intense they make the opening, which they do in a lot of movies, where it's like usually they enter with something real crazy right off the jump, and that's how they do it with this one. Check this out. Ooh, she hears noises. She's going up the stairs. What could it be?
Mom?
Mama? Is that you, Mom? Ah! Christ. She's just going for it, dude. This girl doesn't even open the door and run. She's just totally in shock and close the door behind her. Like, what? Ugh.
Okay. It's what he wanted.
It's okay. Dun 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 dun. Here she comes. Extra creepy, man.
Everything's gonna be different now.
Everything's gonna be different now. Ah, man. Out of control. So that's how they start this. And there's a lot of crazy flashes of like gruesome stuff throughout this movie. And at some points she even starts to not only question things, but kind of get furious and lash out and things you see in a trailer. There's a moment where they're at a dinner party at their house and they're among friends, and she's a little confused and things get a little out of line with somebody, and she reacts very violently. And everybody is very nonchalant. Like, things start to get a little off even with the people around her. So it's interesting to see how everybody reacts to what's happening with her and everything around them. And they're all definitely odd, and she sometimes doesn't even notice. Sometimes she definitely does. So here's a clip of that. Dun dun. That older lady was the maid. She's a creeper too, man. She obviously gets her drink spiked or something's going on, you know. Things aren't right. Uh-oh. Look at this dude. And she's like, excuse me. And homie does not care at all. Uh-oh. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Dun. Oh. Man, so that was crazy, right? And they have a couple moments where you're not sure if these people are in on some kind of situation, or maybe she's imagining things, or just in general, this whole scenario I'm saying, where you kind of go back and forth between wondering if it's visions, paranormal stuff, other people involved, whatever it could be. They do a good job of having you go back and forth throughout those feelings in this movie, right? And with that being said, though, I'm going to give you my review for this movie. I'm going to give this movie a solid 4 out of 10. And I feel bad because I just reviewed another movie, Arctic Void, and I feel like a similar overall, not necessarily list of cons with this movie as the other movie, but yeah, I did. Okay, so, right, the one thing that pissed me off about this movie is when you go through and you watch all of this and you're going through and you're building up these conspiracies and all these different ideas of what this movie could be and what's going on with these characters and the history of these characters and all that. When it gets to the end, you feel like some things get lost. A lot of things get lost. Or you feel very aggravated with the climax they give you, right? And I'll get into that in the spoilers. And this movie will make you feel like you're all over the place with what you think the end could be, but when the end finally clicks and comes through, you realize that it's kind of almost like a cop-out feeling of an ending to a movie. And this movie would have been a lot better. To me, I probably would have maybe gone into the range of maybe a 6.5, somewhere in that for this movie if the ending would have at least been a little more solid. It really, really threw me off, this ending here. And with that being said, let's get right into spoilers. Again, this is a 4 out of 10, and let's get into it so I can tell you what happens here. Spoilers. Bing, boom, bum, ba, bing, ba, boom, bum, ba, boom, ba, boom. Okay, so at the end, right, things get really intense. She starts to finally have a conflict where she's running from her husband and she's running from everything in the house, and she's fighting back as things get a little culty and weird, and she finally starts to snap out of it. And there's a guy that they show in the movie that pops up a couple times in visions, and she thinks she sees him in person once. And he seems like he could potentially be someone that knows the family, or he could potentially even be, he seems like a priest, and that's exactly what he turns out to be, a priest. And you find out that he's basically calling to her, and she kind of does a free fall out of the window, hence the term free fall. She falls into what she's seeing and believes him, falls out of this window, and then wakes up and realizes that she's been in bed this whole time, and she's in a full-blown exorcism, and they're trying to get demons out of her. And basically what this movie is saying is that there were demons that got into the parents. She walked in and she saw the parents killing themselves, but then you get a flash that the demon was with them, making them do it, right? So you understand now that these demons were in the parents. Then when the parents died, the demons jumped to her. Then basically she survived killing herself and was still possessed by this demon, and they were trying to, give her an exorcism and get this demon out of her. And then at the end, the demons get out of her and everything like that, and they go into the sister, and then the movie's pretty much over. Or they hint that it's going to go into the sister, or she's already possessed. They have a key line, basically, that they flash in the beginning, the middle, and the end of this movie. That is the key that kind of joins everything together, that lets you know that this is the demon involved in behind everything in this movie, and that everything in her mind was basically a delusion, except for obviously her parents killing herself. That really happened, but it was because of the demon inside them. And then when the demon was in her, everything that happened in this movie was a goddamn delusion in her head while she was in an exorcism. And that's what really pisses me off, because all the conspiracies, all the story you want to know, all the things you want to know about the character development and the sub-character plots and stuff is meaningless. It's a waste of time. And man, oh man, is that an agitating thing to realize at the end of this film. And I'm going to just play this clip here, this little end exorcism part when she wakes up and realizes this whole thing. Bam, she takes the fall. Then she wakes up. She's fighting the demon, trying to get it out. She's all kind of fucked up. That's the sister. Oh shit. Everybody that she had seen and interacted with, mostly in her visions, were just all in her head. It was demons. Out of control. So that basically happens, and you come to that realization that the whole movie you watched and all the things you speculated on were a waste, and they were for absolutely nothing. And then you get kind of bummed out. I mean, there was some entertaining stuff in there for sure with some of the gore and some of the trippy shit that was going on. But overall, when things kind of get laid out for you and you get no real good resolution out of it, man, it really just ruins the movie for you sometimes. Or at least it did for me. Let me know what you guys think. With that being said, again, I'm giving this a 4 out of 10. If you guys feel otherwise, definitely let me know in the comments of what you think. Again, this is the Free Fall ZukaTube out.
Lines like an assembly. I'm staying on points. My strategy feel like they tracking me. Yo, let me get on one. Nah, go get your tracks up. Homie, can I steal some? Homie, you can't stack up. My brother, can you shout me? You're barking up the wrong tree. My dog, why do you doubt me? Cause you can't do shit without me.
Real like the radio and never play it, but that's cool. The enemy's supposed to hate it.